Good evening. Welcome to News Compass. You can be part of the discussion. The short SMS code is 40920. We'll sample some of them towards the tail end of the program here. Equally an important week forthcoming on Monday, 12th of August 2019. The president is out of the country, but the former prime minister was equally briefed by CS Margaret Kobia on what's forthcoming, what's in store for the young people in this country, even as the policy-making process seems to favor them. But is that a short-lived dream, as they do hold with cases of course, or decry on exclusion and stigmatization, or what they say is the sidelining by the government when it comes to the young people who make up a bulk of the population. So in the next 50 minutes or so, we'll talk that alongside Gabriel Muthuma, who is a political analyst, of course, has been observing the political development in the country. Gabriel, good evening. Thank you for coming. I do appreciate your time. An important discussion, of course. They pertain also what's forthcoming. They equally have made their proposals before the BBI, which is set to come up with something substantive created out of course, the truce between the president and the opposition chief, Raila Odinga. At the center I'm joined by Amy Ruria, who is the Senior Assistant Secretary, State Department for Youth in the country, perfectly placed to talk to us about the importance of this day that's forthcoming on Monday. And Mercy Nyawira, on my immediate right, is the beneficiary of the Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities, KYEOP. Those are the letters. So before we get to the discussion here, my director is informing me that we have a bite to play. Come back and talk about it equally. It will form part of the discussion.
All these people who are talking here, pretending that they are so concerned about the sport. We know the interest that they present.
Chair. You cannot allude and try and say that we are being used. Yes, I am jealous to safeguarding our people who elected me. If you came here for other reasons, that is your concern.
All right, so we'll get to hear that, though it was meant for another discussion, but equally, Gabriel, starting with you as the starting point here on the program. Taking a look at this important day forthcoming on Monday, in about 48 hours' time. One thing that is equally a global phenomenon is that the young people are now being considered to be the central motor of the driving policy processes across the globe. How important equally is this specifically for the Kenyan chapter?
Oh, it's quite actually a very important engagement. And I believe this is where we should have started discussion 20 years ago. I think we should have been, or we could have been, at great lengths as we speak right now. And the reason why I'm saying it's a conversation we should have started a long time ago. I'll take you back to the, just the mid-turn of the, before we got to the 2010s, when Obama was becoming president.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, you remember the collegiate, other people who came out, and they were ready for a change. So it was a very huge movement, that culminated or resulted to America getting its first black president. And actually, it was largely credited to the youth. And as historians have said, the youth of a nation are the trustees of posterity. So the more we take serious this issue of, whether it's youth unemployment, whether it's engaging the youth to take leadership positions, we still have a long way to go. And the reason why I say we had a long way to go is because we did not start early. But that does not mean we cannot get there.
We seem to be playing a catch-up game.
Yeah. But like I said, it does not mean we cannot get there. What we just need to do is just up the ante and ensure that we start involving the youth in matters everything. When I say it matters everything, we are starting from leadership. We are starting in them taking, showing them that we can take greater, they can take greater responsibilities. They can actually be part and parcel of the fabric that makes whatever good governance that we have. So the minute we start engaging the youth, and then they should also take themselves seriously, because what I've always said, a good society is the one that when these young people come out of school, society is ready to support their growth, so that when they come out, we've set up machineries and instrumentation of ensuring that their growth within the society is supported. But when we have a churn rate of youth just coming out of our education institutions, they don't have hope. They cannot get employment. Yes, as much as who would want to say, the government just, sets pace on a very, not that big of a platform when it comes to employment. Private sector.
All right.
Should be coming into to take that mantle. So it is a good thing, Ayub, for us to be engaging about the youth today. But as much as we are talking about the society being able to support their growth, we also need the youth of this country and the youths across the globe to start taking themselves seriously. Like I've told you earlier on when we began, it took the collegiate, the youth of America, to make a grand change, and they made it. All right. So is that more of like a wake-up call to the youth of this continent of Africa? I think it's time.
And then given the developments, equally, you mentioned the US practically, but equally it has been also very evident in France, where Emmanuel Macron came to power after President Francois Hollande. But coming to Emmy at the center, talk to me about the government position here when it comes to, of course, the young people. And here I want to draw the thin and the fragile line. So what are the assurances, the guarantees put in place by the government to pick up the pieces and raise the hopes of these young people from the depths of despair to the great heights of hope?
Thank you very much. Now, actually, I would like to appreciate what he has said, Mr. Muthuma has said, and adding on to that, this is the right time. This week we're having the International Youth Week, and it's a time for the government and the youth to showcase where we're coming from, what we've achieved over time, what the government is doing for the youth, what the youth are doing for themselves. So we have a lot of success stories, and we have a lot of stuff to showcase, really where we have come from and where we are headed. Look at it this way. We are having issues like my friend here, Mercy, is a beneficiary of KEOP. KEOP has been given has been giving grants to the youth to exploit their entrepreneurial skills and set up businesses. We have the Kenya Youth Development Fund, which has also been giving funds to the youth. We have the youth, and we have the AGPO, which gives opportunities
to young people.
To young people to get tenders in government, young people disadvantaged, the marginalized, the women to get tenders. We have a lot of opportunities that the government has opened up. Even the youth empowerment centers that we have, the youth are able to, exploit their talents, be more innovative, creative, come up with ideas that can improve their lives. So we find the government has really done a lot for the youth of this country, and this is a week where we celebrate all this. We started on 6th, we launched in Embu, and then on the final day, the climax is on 12th
August,
and we
Monday.
Shall have the International Youth Day. We shall celebrate it in Matuga, in Kwale County.
All right, Mercy, then you are the practical person that we have on board here, the baby that is born out of the Kenya Youth Empowerment, that is opportunities provided by the state. Talk to me about the process, how it has helped you, and looking into the future. Have you gotten the opportunity required, and what's your message to the young people who equally want to be where you are at the moment?
Thank you so much. As you've said, I'm a beneficiary of the KYEOP, and we have learned from life skills. They take us 2 weeks, life skills. Core business, it's 2 weeks. And then now if you join the formal or informal, for the formal you go for 5 months, and then for the informal you go for 2 months in class and 3 months in the field where you go learn. As for me, I did the formal where I went to class, and I went for training with
the very young people who equally you are in the same process of learning and training.
Where I have acquired skills in fashion design. I have the skills. I can get grants from the government where I can open up my business and also employ other youths. Yes.
Well, now let me go to Gabriel on that note then. What we are having is a practical lesson here of someone who has benefited from a government avenue. And given that, if you can recall vividly, well, I am sure because you do. President Obama in 2015 did call on the young people in the country to not wait to be fed on silver platter. He called on or call unto them to venture into entrepreneurship. He said that's what uplifted a great economy like the United States of America. There is the immense potential of young people in the country, but it takes the government to unlock those opportunities. How do you go about that?
You know, by the way, that's a very good question. You see, when somebody like that would come in and talk, and by the way, you realize Obama and the youth, he really clicked with the youth. And I have always believed, because even after what he's done post his presidency, he's really worked with the youth a lot. You see, he still has those meetings, you know, in South Africa, the one that he did, I think it was last year. And, you know, he's continued really working and uplifting the youth. The one thing, you know, which is quite true as well is, you know, the Kenyan government has actually done a great deal when it comes with engaging the youth. Like, you know, what she's talking about, the WAGPO, you know, the AGPO rather, the Kazikwa, you know, the Ajira program. All those, by the way, these are very good platforms. And that's why I'm saying you are right when you say the youth should not wait. The youth of this nation should actually try as much as they can to engage the facilities that are there today, because that is the platform under which you launch. When the government, and by the way, what the government should do, apart from really, giving you a boost, like you remember they were saying the monies that you get, you will not pay interest, which is a very good thing. So there is money set aside, but you must pay it back. That is a realization that the youth must say, you know, when I'm writing down whether it's a business proposal, something that, you know, I need to bring in financial sustenance, this is something that I must think about very clearly. Because I am going to use money which I have to put back to the kitty for that money to support another youth. So you must come in with that realization. Now, when I told you that the engagement between the government and the youth in this country has actually gone a little bit, a notch higher, it is because of the engagement that, you know, like her State Department will tell you, and you know, the entire youth ministry, you know, some of the things that they've laid down. And you can see there are number of youths that I know who have really gotten their way in through these government programs. I know so many, by the way. So it is something which needs to be recommended, and I hope it gets all the way to mashinani. But having said that, there's something also that I think we need to teach also our youth. What you've just said. Them, you know, crawling from behind and them not capturing or seizing the moment. I always like reminding the youth when I talk, and you know, Obama was using examples that, you know, so-and-so was this, so-and-so was that. And you can see clearly how these people have come. Bill Gates, when he started Microsoft in his garage, he was a young guy. As a matter of fact, he was a college graduate. He was a college dropout. Right?
A dropout for that matter.
Yes, he was a college dropout. But look at what he went to establish, Microsoft. When you look at the Google boys, they were very young.
Steve Jobs, Apple.
Steve Jobs, yeah. These were young people who passed 2 tests. First of all, they passed the tests of locality, and they passed the test of universality, meaning that their products became appreciated globally. Today, Microsoft is a company with global relevance, started at a garage many years ago, all right? So that goes on to show you that if you put your mind into it, the 2 tests that our youth must start learning how to pass. And the way, you know, it has become a global village. I know young guys who today are in cyber cafes and they work for clients abroad, and they will make an income and sustain. But you see, they will require government to come in matters like legislation of the internet. We need to bring down this service. We need to bring down the internet.
And come up with regulation.
Whether it's building digital villages where the youth can go and just be able to get work and be able to drive a platform where they could be engaging. You know, I mean, the world is now a digital village. There's so many things that they can do. Whether it's the call centers that we know, there is so much that they can do. But it has to be also backed by legislation. If people are using, whether it's technology, if they are using it more, then let's find a way of ensuring that the cost is right.
Of course, many angles to look into. MES, you can come in. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, maybe to add on to what Mr. Muthuma is saying, we have the youth empowerment centers. And they're really totally equipped here with computers. They're innovation hubs where the youth, it's a one-stop shop for the youth to come in and probably do some computer skills, explore their talents in either when it comes to creativity and all that. So you find the government really is supporting this, and even like you were talking about the youth getting funds and paying back. Now we even have grants. KYOP gives grants. Yeah, initially we were doing the grants for the youth that have reached up to Form 4, but now we have grants for the college students, Mbele na Bees, where you like do your proposal. There's a competition, and the giving funds, I think, between 800,000 and 3.6 million. Yeah,
which is
a grant. Money, yeah, it's money you're given for your good proposal, and go with it and come up with something good. So the youth should take advantage of this. You see, when we had this young man that was shown the other day on TV that, you know, build a job and all that, yeah. But I find probably maybe we need to sensitize the youth further, or the youth need to exploit these avenues that we have, because this is a young man who had a first-class honors. He could have actually taken advantage of this opportunity that is there to do something. Actual science, he could have taken advantage of a grant to do something for himself and for his community.
Of course, something beneficial.
Yes.
But again, Mercy is a practical example here on set, and to just come to you here, Mercy, talk to me about the life lessons that you of course, that was instilled in you when it comes to what you have benefited, aside from the fashion designs that you fancy as a passion. What else as a life lesson, which encompasses everything, have you learned when you were together with the many young people who came together from different backgrounds, and how has life from the top offered you an extra lesson from what you initially knew from your home yard?
Okay, you interact with different people from different backgrounds, some from the high caliber and some from the medium. You know, interacting with them, some it's hard dealing with them, some are from deep in the ghetto, if I can call it, and some are from the
suburbs.
Yeah. So interacting with them is quite difficult, and knowing how to manage each and every one of them. You know, everybody has different temperaments. You know how to handle this person and this other person. The life skills, it has really helped me, and also communication skills. Yes.
Well, all that are equally important, and we, of course, looking into the future, I'm sure you must be now gauging on how to go about that and wanting to empower also those who are, of course, looking up to such opportunities. But coming to you, Gabriel, one entity that is normally seeking to intertwine with the government when it comes to issues about young people, not only in Kenya, which is our chapter for that matter talking about it tonight, but equally it's a global phenomena, is the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, that from an economic angle wants to support the government to uplift the lives of young people, as I earlier mentioned, lift them up from the from the depths of despair to the great heights of hope. But equally, pointing out is, well, this is a global phenomena. How can we have the debate here in the country? Is the government considering an increase or the exponential growth in the number of young people who now form not only a bulk of the population, but also the voting bloc or pattern come the next elections, and again coming back in the short term, who now are providing an echo chamber of public view and the groundswell sort of the grievances that they're presenting of being sidelined and the state high-handedness when it comes to issues that affect young people in the country. Are these important and significant factors for consideration by the government?
You know, but I think another great question. You see, I remember, and this I'll give you a live example. I remember when I was living in college, we used to have, I think, similarly, if not the very same challenges that are faced by most of the youths today. And I recall, you know, during my exit phase, I had a very good conversation with my professor back then. And, you know, she told me there's something that the world will never do. The world will never give you ideas, right? As much as they can give you anything else, you must come up with your ideas. And you must prove to the people that matter that your ideas work. If it's a business, it is not the person helping you who should give you those business ideas. You need to come up with them and believe in it and tell them, this is what I want to do. this is how I feel it's going. And you must put all these things together for you to be able to come up with that, whether it's a small, whether it's a medium, or even a large enterprise. And so when NDP comes into play, it will come in, you know, as the monetary instrument per se. They will not bring a bag of ideas. So we go back to the youth. What ideas do you present to the table? There's a series done by KCB, I don't know whether you watch it, where young people, you know, come up with, I know it, we got it from another nation from the US, and I used to watch it a lot, where people come, and even you at home listening, you're like, wow. If I had money, I would invest in this idea. If I had money, I would invest in this. So that is what we are called upon to do. And the youth, you know, we've always thought, which is, I think, something we need to run away from. We've always thought that once you have papers, that's it. Notwithstanding the fact of what she has said about the guy who had, you know, first-class honors. Papers, yes, can take you, you know, to only a certain extent. I told you about Bill Gates. I told you about all these people. I told Mark Zuckerberg, so to speak. All these are college dropouts. But that did not nullify the fact that they had ambition. They did nullify the fact that they had great ideas. It did not nullify the fact that they could sit down and put their imaginations and business idea on paper and be able to sell it, not to government, but to private investors. That is the other thing. So, to me, if the youth of this nation continue to harness great ideas, I can guarantee you, Ayub, money will not be lacking. No, I don't think so. Because all you need to do is present these great ideas to people who matter.
For utilization of the funds.
If government fails, if you cannot find the State Department of Youth for them to give you these, there are people in the private sector who just do nothing but look, whether it's startups, whether it's people who have great ideas, and they invest in it. And so many people that we know.
And they actually scout for talent.
Exactly. So many people that I can mention so many young guys who are doing very well in this great city of ours, who started their businesses. You know, you remember, was it Moshiri, or the guy of Jambo Pay? You remember? He started,
a young lad.
He started Jambo Pay in a cyber cafe. All right? And he ended up,
entirely the financial system of Nairobi County government.
Exactly. So that's what I'm when ideas are well harnessed, when they are built on an honest platform, and you have the faith and what it takes for you to be able to sustain that idea and see it in fruition and bring all the machinery that work into that idea, whether it's marketing, whether it's, you know, IT, I can guarantee you can make up a great enterprise.
All right, I'll seek, of course, and that depends with the environment provided, and the honesty to utilize the funds. Equally not important, but a secondary option that can be a springboard for the ideas that we've just talked about, depending on the proposal, the makeup, what it contains. That way the idea can be appreciated. Amy and Mercy, I'll come to you. We are going to a short break here on the program. When we come back, I'll sample some of your tweets. Of course, this is a discussion that is equally online. The hashtag on Twitter is News Compass, rather. And the short SMS code is 40920. And afterwards, of course, come back with the last segment of the program, seek the sentiments of my three panel on set who are giving us from the perspective of understanding it better ahead of Monday next week, by the grace of God, that event which will be taking place in, of course, Kwale County. So stay tuned. We're coming back after this short break. So tweets are coming in, so we'll sample some because of time. And this is from Vera Uma. She says, not a good business sells. What people want is important, but not what he thinks that people want. Good point equally raised by, that is Gabriel. The biggest problems facing Kenya are corruption, tribalism, misuse of public resources, lack of accountability, equal issues that continue to affect the young people's progress in the country. Mercy Karanja says, all Wanjiku wants is small accountable government that will serve all Kenyans. Is it too much to ask for? Gabriel Muthuma, News Compass, the hashtag, and she tags equally Amnesty International and the State House, Nairobi, Kenya. And they do continue to come in. One here from one of our favorite viewers, he is Kevin. He says, lovely discussion on the question of youth and young people. It's an ever-ending miasma that should make the youth be triggered or made as call to action. Self-realization is a must, and they continue to come in across all our platforms, so we'll sample them as we continue with the discussion here on the program, and we do thank you and cherish for the contributions that you are making. Emi Ruria, Well, I'll come to you. Talking about the issue of the finance, I was practically present when the Member of Parliament in Kamukunji constituency, that is my home constituency, in Isili, Yusuf Hassan did launch a hub center where the youth can practice music, can practice dancing, and there's a sort of a cyber cafe center where they can apply for jobs. And the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, paid a visit there, and he hailed the importance of such, opening up of an opportunity. Now, while that is just a microcosm of what needs to happen across the country, what does it take the leadership of the country now to be so youth cautious in the sense that you consider them equally as part of your policies to empower them down at the grassroots level as you move upwards in terms of the policy at the national level?
Okay, thank you. First, to add up to what you're saying about the youth hubs, since last year, we were able to refurbish about 21 youth empowerment centers. And tomorrow, actually, we'll be doing the launch for 12 of them across the country, so in different parts of the country. And next year, we hope also to refurbish many more. And now, as for the government, you find the government appreciates that the youth hold this country. They hold our future. They're the ones that really give in most of their energies to develop this country.
Right.
So the government is very committed, like you were saying. And we find we have where the government is coming up and encouraging youth not to think about the white-collar job where you sit in an office, but where they can use their mind, critical thinking jobs.
All right.
Come out of where you're relying on someone employing you and think about your own, employing yourself. Jobs that will have to do with critical thinking, jobs that will have to do with problem solving, data analysis, just coming out from the mainstream, what we've been used to doing. And you find we're doing a lot of public a lot of activities, and we'll always engage. The government always engages the youth.
All right.
We acknowledge that the youth are important, and they're engaged in every aspect of everything that is done. And you find, actually, youth cuts across all the ministries in this country. In education, there's issues of youth. In ICT, there is youth. In agriculture, we cut across. So youth matters in every forum. I always find that youth are being engaged, being involved, asked for their views, asked for their input. They say what they want. We no longer do that of, telling them it's like this. They have creative minds. They have fresh ideas. They tell us what we want. And as a government, now we look, how are we going to actualize this for them? Yes.
Then, Marcel, I'll come to you. In terms of the ideas and what you have in focus at the moment, looking into the future then, do you consider yourself as the access point of other young people, others who are looking up to these opportunities? And what's your message to them, perhaps?
I consider myself an access point. Having the skills, I can create my own job and also employ other youths and empower them. That is also helping the government in bridging the gap between unemployment. I can encourage my fellow youths, get the skills, you have the papers, yes, don't sit and wait for jobs to come for you. Go look for jobs, get ideas, open jobs, create something. Don't just sit the papers expecting jobs to come your way. They won't come your way. You have to go outside. Yes.
All right. Then, Gabriel, there's a bit of political balance that I need to pick up this from, but I'll come to that towards the end of the program. But let me come to the importance of TVET, now Technical Vocational Training Centers. And the CS, Professor George Mogoha, earlier on in the day did warn about those who seek to downgrade or not see the importance or under-acknowledge the importance of TVETs in the society, saying that under what we are bringing or what we're instilling into the education system, that is the new competency-based curriculum, they will be part and parcel, the building blocks of the future of education in the country. And it has equally proven so practically. How important is it for them now to concentrate on also the hands-on skills to employ themselves for empowerment opportunities for self?
Ayub, you remember I told you there are several things that we should have done a long time ago. Now, one of them is not that we didn't do it. One of them, we allowed it to fail. And that was the TVETs. the vocation training. You remember back in the day we had polytechnics, where, you know, if you did not succeed in going to university, it wasn't such a bad idea for you to join a TVET. And these were actually the areas where we saw skillmanship. This is where we got our fundis. This is where we got our plumbers. This is where we got our electricians. These were the places that were giving us that final person that we needed. I don't know what went wrong, that we started closing those polytechnics, and every polytechnic that I knew back then became a university. So I believe there we went wrong. Now I think we've revived it. And you saw, well, it started, I think, with the former, you know, professor who was there before. He was preceded by Amina Mohammed, and now C.S. Magoha. They've pushed the TVET in the right direction. This is good for this country. And I believe this is where, you know, as much as we are giving credence to higher education, like universities, it should also have a lot of sustenance in our TVETs. In fact, the other day, I think now they're receiving help.
Yeah, they're receiving help.
They're receiving help. They're receiving
you know, there's a plan to roll out every constituency to have a TVET.
To have a TVET.
Yes.
And you know,
the person machinani is
correct,
there.
Correct. And not to cut you
the
short.
issue, the grassroots we have been talking about, how important then are they in terms of now looking upscale up forward than to be the springboard to support the national cause entirely?
You see, we thought, and I think this is something we thought wrong. You know, we always thought that for you to be anything, meaning in this country, you needed a 4-year college degree. That we've seen is not the case. Like in the US, they have technical colleges. They're 2-year, you know, colleges that you go and you get your diploma. And they are so skill-oriented, you know, than where you are only doing a lot of book work. So TVETs, that is their goal. They refine your skill and they make you ready for that market that you're coming out of. Again, I'm not downgrading the fact that you can get your degree in whatever field. But I know people who've gone out of getting their 4-year degrees and still gone back to learn, to the technical, to learn skills. So they always marinate properly if you know which field or which discipline you want to pursue. So I think the TVET way should have actually been upgraded back then than letting it just die. But what we are seeing right now and what the CS education is doing is actually quite commendable. And I hope, you know, the government continues to inject, you know, a lot of funding in these TVETs. I'm glad if they are able to go to Mashinani and ensure that every constituency has 1 or 2, you know, institutions that are doing TVET.
We're even starting from the basics. Now we have, obviously, our constitution talks about free, compulsory, primary education. And then we came ahead and then we made the tuition fees free for the public secondary schools. So you find we're giving the youth, even as they grow, an opportunity to explore all the avenues that are there for them. And you find the TVETs, the fees are standardized. There is help being given to them. And I think the government is really doing a commendable job. Even with the curriculum, competency-based curriculum, it is actually molding this young person to be able to can fit in anywhere, can you know, in any place that they find themselves in.
And you know the other thing about TVETs, you know, one thing I'm liking, it's very easy for you to actually have a multi-channeled skill set. You can become a plumber, and as you're becoming a plumber, you can still become an electrician. All right? So it actually sets, I wish people would know.
Creates a case of dynamism.
So we go back to where we said, can the youth have that audacity of taking advantage of, you know, these opportunities? And I believe TVET actually comes out as a great, great case study.
We need a mindset change where the youth embrace the technical bit of it, the TVET. Because, okay, when I was growing up, you know, going to a youth polytechnic was not the in thing.
No.
Yeah. So there's still that mentality.
Yeah,
but you find those people that went to these technical places eventually end up even having a better life than me, who ended up being in an office. Because you know, you exploit your skills, you build up your businesses, and so guys should not start you know, keep thinking that I need a job, I need to be in an office. Yeah. Embrace what the government is giving now.
All right.
Yeah.
Then Mercy, being now the person who we refer to as the example to be epitomized by others who are equally looking up to these opportunities by the government. And there are some, though, who hand on heart say the government has neglected them. Yet there are these programs, only that they cannot be all absorbed into this. Rather, take advantage of the other available avenues to empower yourselves equal. So what is your clarion call to them in that serikali haijawa? The government hasn't forgotten about you. It's only that we are doing this in bits. We can't chew all this at one time, that we are taking it bit by bit.
Sure, the government has not forgotten us or neglected us, only that a step at a time. You know, you can't just take all the youths and say you want to create employment for them. You go bit by bit. You start the first phase, like the KYEO. There's the first cycle, second cycle, the third cycle. I know the fourth cycle is ongoing, and the websites are online. Also in the DC offices, you apply. They're all over. When they want the intake, the news are all over, even in the TV stations. So the youths cannot say that the government has neglected them. I can say themselves, they have neglected themselves in that they don't want to go and see if there are opportunities online. You know, they don't want to dig deeper and know if the opportunities are there. They want to be spoon-fed. And you cannot wait to be spoon-fed and want to excel. That's impossible.
Okay, Gabriel, let me come to the political angle of it here. And it appears to be a bit practical, going by what normally what normally happens. And you take a look at how the youths have participated.
Right.
And what happened in 2011, I was there in Form 4,
Right.
is that the Arab Spring largely, which started in Tunisia, which saw Zainab Abidin Ali, was started by a young person, a young lad who set himself ablaze on the outskirts of the capital, Tunis, after the local authorities confiscated his trading equipment, which largely swept away dictators across the Arab world. And equally, they are very active in Sudan. They demanded for a change of power. It did happen. And we've seen the likes of Hair Black defeating the likes of Douglas Alexander in the UK. And in the last press briefing of the White House in 2017, President Obama walked into the White House press briefing room, and he congratulated one man. That was Josh Earnest, his communications. That was the man who faced the cameras on his behalf. And he said, "You see this lad in suit at the White House? I picked him up from Iowa when he was in a jeans, and a lad whom I felt was very useful in my presidency at the White House." It presents a classical example in the Kenyan situation here. And it's fundamental, and it underpins the education in this country. Yes, we need to focus on the TVET, the vocational aspect, but equally the youth need to package themselves in the best manner to be picked by the government or to be the useful members of the society. How do they package themselves besides being fancied by the politicians or the political class as the mammoth of crowd at the political campaign time, and then neglected in the end? So what is their packaging point to be better members so that they can't be downgraded by the same politicians?
Excellent. By the way, that's a very good question. And the examples that you're giving, these people, when you look at them, they are very young and ripe at their age, whether it's through the revolutions that you're talking about or whether it's through the peaceful governance that we've seen. And, you know, I like always giving the American examples because, you know, it reminds me of a lot when you talk about somebody like Barack Obama. When you look at somebody, his campaign manager, somebody like David Plouffe was a relatively young guy. When you look at somebody like David Axelrod, very young guy. But these people are able to set up a very unique and very sophisticated campaign machinery.
Robust campaign machine.
That's all Obama win. Very young people. Very young people. When you look, even if you go deep a little bit, the leader of the civil rights movement back in the day, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he was relatively a very young fellow. Even when he died, he was largely, I think, coming out of his 30s. All right? So that just tells you these were very young individuals who just wanted a cause. Even the revolutions that we have, the likes of Paul Kagame, they were very young people when they, they took over power. But to bring it to your question, the fact that the youth must package themselves as serious people within each and every government must actually find its place in our current society. And then, for them to do that, they must realize one thing, that it is their place. They are not begging for it. They need to go for it. They need to be counted, to be part and parcel of that mosaic of building government. In 2002, when President Uhuru tried, running the first time as president, him and William Ruto, if you look at those pictures, they were relatively young people.
And him being tear gas later.
Exactly. They were relatively young people. And that gives me the hope that the youth of this nation can actually rise to substance. So if we continue with this momentum, reminding them that this is their place, they only need to get serious and go for it. I've always told, and I like the youth. The reason why I like the youth is because when we sit down, they kind of listen. And I don't know sometimes whether they just feel the story that it's, good and you give them good examples. But I always tell them, whether it's employment or whether it's government, there's one thing called employability. It's not enough to tell me that I need a job. After the job, I need to ask you, are you employable? And they will face you and like, what do you mean? Yes, I have the papers.
Course.
That's not it. Employability is, can you show up to work 4 or 5 days a week when you're okay? Can you do that which you are hired to do? Can you be entrusted with responsibilities? Can you do that which is right? Or you will be fired the second week because A, you are employed, but you came to work drunk, you are unable to carry out your tasks. So it is not enough, Ayub, to just have a job. You must have the element of employability. And if the youth are able to do that, then I believe even in matters governance, people will start taking them serious.
And of course, for continuity purposes. So let me give the last words to Emmy and then come to Mercy.
Thank you, Ayub. Now, for me, it's just echoing what Mr. Muthuma is saying. The youth need to stand up. They are the majority. They form the bulk of the cadre that helps to develop our nation. So, and the bulk of even the employed, the ones that are adding, that are developing our nation. So they need to come out, and they should not just, minimize themselves to those jobs that are handed down to them. Let them exploit their minds. Let them engage even the CBOs. Let them engage the government. Let them come out and see exactly what you find. The good thing with our constitution now, there's the issue of public participation. For any forum that is there that is coming up on matters that they feel can affect them, let them go out and say exactly what they want. And the government listens. And the government is willing to, to make their lives better. The government appreciates that we cannot have a future without them. So let them come out and, be counted. For us, the adults that are up there, the youth are looking up to us. Let us also give them the opportunity to express themselves. Let us embrace even talent. Let us have specialists who can help these youth nurture their talents. The acting things, what we see in Churchill and all that. That is good money. It's a good industry. But somehow, I remember our days, you tell your mother you want to sing or play music.
You'll be thoroughly caned.
Totally. So let's just embrace the diversity that we have and let the youth
All right.
think outside the box.
Asante.
Yes.
Mercy, your final comments before we wrap up the show. My director is telling me that we are out of time. Pole. But let her finish up, okay?
Okay, as my colleagues have said, it is our time, it is our place, and if it has to be, it is up to us to get out of our comfort zone, and also to our parents out there. Don't discourage your children. They want to go do the technical courses. You see, like, no, that's not their place. No, encourage them, support them, and pray for them. It is, we get out of our comfort zone, our parents support us, and also we see the government is supporting us. Thank you.
Asante sana. And Gabriel Muthuma, commentator, political and social issues in the country. Thank you so much. Mercy Nyawira, a beneficiary of the Kenya Youth Empowerment Opportunities, KYEOP, and Mercy Ruria, Senior Assistant Secretary, State Department for Youth in the country. And tweets continue to come in. We can't sample all of them, but thank you so much to all those who have sent in their tweets. Laura, Mercy, and of course, Top Mashariki, and the many others who continue to tweet regarding, of course, the discussion at hand here on the program. They remain the central motor. They remain the centerpiece of not only Kenya, but equally the global community. That's why the United Nations Development Program does coming. And thank you to you to an upload of this discussion will be on and up on our YouTube platform. And 3 platforms, as always, to catch us up on Facebook, that is at Ebru TV. That is facebook.com/Ebru TV Kenya, on Twitter at Ebru TV Kenya, and on, of course, YouTube, that is at Ebru TV Kenya. This discussion will be uploaded by tomorrow by the grace of God. Linda will be here with the morning show tomorrow morning in about 8 hours' time. I am Ayub Abdikadir Abdi from the Communication Center in Lavington. Good night.